All right, what's up, guys? Um, just in time, someone murdered someone again. So I can hear it. I can hear the beautiful ringing of the sirens, and this happens on schedule about once every hour. Um, it could be you can hear them from far away, so it could be anywhere on Hollywood Boulevard or where the or Melanie, what's the highway crossroads where um, the stars are on? It's Highland, yeah. Okay, so okay, but Highland is goes through there, right? So yeah, a lot of stuff goes on over there. It sounds like it's kind of nearby, but it's not. It's the way that those sirens travel, but it's like kind of right around us. There is there's no police anymore. Like they don't respond to anything other than something major. So it's uh it's what it's like living in California now. But anyway, yeah, I clicked on this just a little early, just so the we can wait for the everyone to get the notification and get on. So, but man, we have tomorrow. Tomorrow's exciting. I think tomorrow could be just as good as week two. I think as far as um, a lot of good matchups, a lot of good games coming down to the end, things like that. Um, I like a lot of these. I like a lot of these matchups. So it seems like wow, it seems like Tuesday. I was just talking to you guys uh, yesterday. I mean, does it seem like it was Tuesday? That's so weird. But Gord King, which is See It Twice, for those who don't know, you said that you produced a video. What is it? What kind of video is it? What's it for? I'd like to see it. Dave, welcome. You finally got the notification. It's awesome. 146 Zigzag. What's up, man? Elf of Courage, welcome. Don't ever change the Triforce logo unless it's for another Triforce. All right. Let's see. Corey King's here, of course. I just said John Tomashovis. Tyree was first one here. I know Tyree. Okay, so uh, that Micah Hyde injury is not good for me because I picked the Bills. Well, I haven't yet officially, but I was thinking about going with the Bills for my survivor pool. But yeah, I don't know if that would make that big of a difference though against the Dolphins. But that's what I was leaning towards. I was originally wanting the Chargers, but now with the Herbert situation, even if he does come back, which I don't know if they ruled him out. I haven't checked this morning, but or today. So even if he does come back, he's going to be banged up and injured, and probably not very confident in what he's doing. So, which would be stupid anyway to bring him back. But I think you just give him a week off against a weak opponent. But yeah. All right. I like that the sun's still out though. I'm able to go without my glasses, without my sunglasses on because I'm using natural light. So it won't last long though, but it's something at least. Bitcoin, what's up, man? Speaking of Survivor Pool, um, the game Cuphead. Okay, I never heard of it, but I'll still check it out. I don't know. Saturdays are weird. It seems like not very many people. Like when I do the weeknight shows, this is historically. This is like even a few years ago. Over time, the weeknights generate like 50, sometimes 60 views. If I do a post game show, it'll generate up to 100 viewers. But on Saturday night, it's always very low. I think as people are probably doing I don't know. I mean, I can't tell, but on Saturday nights, but maybe they watch it later or something. I don't know, but maybe we should think about moving this to Friday nights. So, all right, Psycho Mantis, what's up? Nefertiti is here. In fact, she's over my right shoulder. How you doing, Elena? Okay. Hey, since I'm in LA, should I get my nose shortened? It's a joke. Doesn't everyone here in LA get plastic surgery for no reason? So, all right. Hell no, I like my big ass nose. So, yeah, well, Nick Wright's a different story though. Nick Wright is you know, Nick Wright is, sometimes you if certain people's features fit them, and if you change something, it does they look like a different person, and you can't change it, But with Nick Wright, definitely that's too excessive. But I don't actually, yeah, it's just normally I wouldn't say that. Normally, I would never recommend someone get anything altered on their face, except for Nick. That's yeah, that's excessive. So, although he's trying to look better. I mean, remember when he was bald and all that? Now he's got like hair plugs and everything. And he does try more to look better, and it's probably you know a good thing. So, huh? Well, he's got hair now, so that's something. So, all right, Dave, I don't strike you as the LA. I am not. No, I'm not. No, I don't belong here. I'm only here. I arrived here for my music. I recorded my fourth album here in LA in like 2010, I think. And then I met Nefertiti, who kept me here, and I'm a prisoner now because she's here for screenwriting. So she's held a gun to my head. So, Dave, if you want to look up music, it's under this name here. Although I'm changing it back to which I originally, but it's still listed as that. So, if you any search engine, put that name in, and it will come up with all kinds of different sites of whatever ones you choose. It's so. All right. Yeah, actually, I haven't. I've been working on a new album this summer. It's almost done, and I was going to be showcasing this. We did a music video for one of the songs. We did it at Disney Hall actually here. And if you guys know what Disney Hall is, it's very cool looking. It looks like it's from the future. But yeah, we did that, and it's been a while. It's been a while. I took some years off from doing music. I just needed a break from it, and now I'm back again. So I'm doing that. So although I'm almost finished with it. So okay, okay. First, before we'll get to each game individually. Um, but I just want to point out Shannon Sharp. Can we talk about Shannon Sharp for a second? Shannon Sharp pisses me off to no end. I cannot stand him. Okay? The guy is so hypocritical. Now, he gets on Twitter, all right, and he says all kinds of different things. He gets very political, by the way. And anytime you want to challenge him or write something to him, he'll block you or whatever, get all pissy like a child. And but he gets on Undisputed and becomes really self-righteous. And he talks back to Skip, and he makes these arguments that make it sound like he's very fair. He plays this kind of thing where, oh, I'm very fair and that's how it should be and blah blah. And what bothers me about that is that it's not really who he is. It's not how he argues online when he's talking, when he's not on camera, at work for Fox. So I can't stand people like that. Well, second of all, he hates white people, except for the ones he dates. So he hates us. He's very, very racist person, except he dates white women, I think, or at least he has in the past. But it's the hypocrisy, constantly pretending like he's something that he's not. The problem the problem I have with him regarding sports is that when he argues against Skip is an idiot. And how does Skip ever got this job? I don't know. What I remember, okay, let's go back for a second. I remember in the early 2000s, when ESPN started, these new shows started catching on. It started with, like, Jim Rome had a show in the 90s, and then Stephen A came on in the early 2000s and stuff like that. And then they realized that there was some money in these shows, right? So they started introducing Pardon the Interruption. They introduced a show called Cold Pizza First and 10. And Cold Pizza First and 10 was a debate show between Woody Page, who writes for the Denver newspaper, and it was Skip Bayless, and they had a moderator who just kind of sat there like he didn't know what was going on, a real, like, Leave It to Beaver type dude. I can't remember his name. Maybe his name's Jay, something like that. Jay Crawford, maybe. But anyway, they would just argue back and forth, and it was about, a lot of it was nonsensical. It was just kind of fun. But I remember Skip being the secondary character. I remember getting the feeling that the show was Woody's. Like, I felt that Woody was the actual reason why you watched. Skip was kind of just like the secondary character who kind of just sat there and made stupid claims and outrageous claims and all kinds of stuff. I remember him saying things like he created Tony Romo's. He didn't like Romo for a while, and he called him Tony Uh-oh, meaning he's always prone to throw interceptions. I remember him freaking out about stuff like that. But then Woody Page had to move to Denver, and then they wanted to replace him, so they set different people in for a while. But then Stephen A joined them, and they changed it to First Take. So instead of First and 10, they just altered it to First Take. Again, even on First Take, I felt that Skip was kind of just like saying a bunch of nonsense and didn't really make a good debater. And like Woody, Stephen A seemed to make more sense and make better arguments. And Skip was just kind of like a cartoon, in my opinion. And then they give him his own show on Fox. So the point is I just don't know how this guy has lasted so long. I remember in Dallas, I lived in Dallas from 98 to 2000. And I remember he was a writer there, I think. Maybe he was on staff there at the Dallas Morning. I don't know which one, but he was covering the Cowboys. And I remember that he wrote a book about and it was a big deal in Dallas. Like, people were pissed off. I can't remember when this happened. Okay, so it might have happened before, it might have happened a little bit after. But I remember people in Dallas and friends of mine were mad because he wrote in a book that Troy Aikman was gay or something, or he, like, kind of alluded to that. But that controversy is kind of, I think, what propelled him, and maybe that with Jim Rome, that fight with Jim Everett, maybe like put him on the map, and he became famous for that. And I remember Stephen A. used to have this show where he would just yell at the TV screen by himself in a room on ESPN. This was a while back, 20 years ago, probably, and that got him going. So I don't understand how Skip got such high profile gigs and getting paid so much, but whatever. The point is that he cannot win a debate. He cannot win an argument. And Shannon makes him sound like a fool. Shannon is not that smart. The show makes him smarter than he seems. And the reason I know this is because, again, when he's on his own, he doesn't have a script, or he doesn't have producers, or he doesn't have 2 hours worth of prep before the show for people to tell him what to say and what the rebuttals are going to be and what Skip's arguments are going to be. But sometimes they go off script. You can tell when they do. And they kind of, go on their own. And then they get in a real argument of some sort. And Shannon gets passionate about it. And he ends up making the argument that to viewers sounds reasonable, because Skip is so cartoonish, right? And it just pisses me off to no end. And Shannon makes these arguments that can be completely destroyed. And I'm waiting for Skip to say something. So he defends Tom Brady. Okay, Skip is the biggest Tom Brady defender on big television like that, and I cringe every time he does. I don't want him. I would rather him hate Tom than defend him, because his defense sucks. Every time Shannon throws an argument about Tom at Skip, they're just softballs. You can just knock them out of the arena there, and Skip just says something else. That doesn't address that, and lets the point sit. And it's really, really, really annoying. And God, I just, the way they talk about Tom and Aaron, and all this week, their show is dedicated to Aaron versus Tom. And Shannon recycled the same arguments over and over again. The problem is that when I went to kind of look up clips on Twitter to see how NFL fans were reacting to this, some actually kind of think the way Shannon thinks. And this is a big problem. I have a big problem. So, yeah, satire junk. Yeah, I know the Mac McMorons is what draws in the ratings, but there's still moments where they have a real debate, and they actually they'll say, sometimes they'll go off script, and that's what I'm really referring to. I'm not referring to the scripted parts, but I know how they feel, and I know how they feel when they get on their own private. Like Skip is a little different when he gets on his private Twitter, but oh, thank you. Okay, hold that thought. Okay, Elf of Courage sends a $2 super chat and says TB12 versus AR12 in Game of Throws. I like that. Let's go. Hell yeah, that's good. I like that. I think that's what we're going to see too. The Gourd King, also known as See It Twice, sends a $2 super chat. This is Skip versus Shannon, game of groans. So, what I'm Justin Chetlet, welcome. Salmon, welcome. Sunflowers and Faith, welcome. See a new person here. Thomas Allen, welcome. If I missed you, sorry about that. I'm sure I'll see you again if you keep commenting. But the whole point of this, and I kind of got off on a tangent about the history of those two idiots. But speaking of that, with Shannon, I still think he's one of the greatest tight ends that's ever played. Him as a player and him as a person are different entities. They're different things. I still would take him over guys like Tony Gonzalez, who I believe is the most overrated tight end of the Hall of Fame type guys, the Hall of Fame level, or the guys who will go to the Hall of Fame like Gronk, or people who are on their way. I think Kelsey's probably going to. But I still think that overall, Tony Gonzalez is the most overrated. But Shannon is definitely one of the best. So I just put that out there because a lot of people think that when you say one thing about somebody that it means across the board. But him as a player, I would take Shannon Sharp any day as a tight end if I couldn't pick Gronk. So that's how it is. I grew up watching Shannon Sharp play, so I kind of know, but and I have that feeling about him. Huh? But as an actor, no. But anyway, so the point was of me bringing this up is not, I'm not arguing against the points that Shannon and Skip said to each other. What my problem is that when I went on Twitter and checked, other fans, real people, believe these arguments, and they carry those arguments, and they actually think that they're true, or they think that they're good arguments, or they believe them. That's the problem. The problem is their response to it. It's what I've always said. With First Take and between Max and Stephen A, I used to say, you know, people would ask me, hey, Aaron, if you think it's scripted or if you think it's fake, why are you responding to them? And I'm responding to it because of how the people are buying into it. That's the problem. People think it's real, and people take those arguments and then they spread them around. So they said, so the argument going around right now between NFL fans is this. The same old argument, defenses, okay? So they're bringing up the Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl, all right? How defense saved the day. Well, first, actually, let's say 2001 Super Bowl, okay? I give that was a defensive master class, okay? You don't stop the great Kurt Warner and the greatest show on turf. And in my opinion, their best version of them was that year in 2001. You don't stop them easily in the Super Bowl like that. But here's the problem with that. I'm just saying it's all defense, okay? At the very end, Kurt Warner figured it out. He figured it out. He figured out the Patriots defense. It clicked. Now, Tom Brady speaks about this. He calls it the dam breaking. So there's a point of a game where the dam breaks, and it's either the quarterback figures out the offense, they figure out a hole there, something gives them that edge, and it just dawns on them, or maybe an injury happens or something. But there's always something that happens towards the end of a game where a quarterback can take advantage, or the defense becomes fatigued, or something, right? Tom calls it the dam breaking, where you don't have a lot of points scored, and everyone's trying to figure each other out for the first three quarters, and in the fourth quarter, boom, it breaks, right? Well, that happened for Kurt. Okay, so Kurt figured it out. If that goes into overtime and the Rams got the coin toss, now remember, this is before the rules were changed, so this is sudden death. Even a field goal wins. If the Rams won the toss, they win that game. You're telling me that after what the Rams had shown at the end of the game, that they couldn't get in field goal range. They were hot now. They figured it out. They've got it. If you don't have Tom Brady to go down and set up the field goal, you're in trouble. Tom threw a lot of difficult passes on that drive. Some that actually, when I was watching him, I was yelling at him. Okay? So I was yelling because remember, at this time, I was a Drew Bledsoe fan, massive Bledsoe fan, and I wanted Drew to have his job back. And all season long, all of 2001, I was waiting for this Tom Brady kid to screw up. It's like, is he going to screw up? Is he going to screw up? Is he going to screw up? And I remember watching this game with my friend Mike Brown, and I was like, why are they letting him just do this? And he was throwing these passes that seemed like, I was like, oh my God, don't throw that. But he did it. And after he did it, it finally clicked. I realized why they kept him. And other quarterbacks, I don't know if they make those decisions. I think they try to go downfield and they do something stupid. And Tom didn't. He took the most sure thing. And so people like to say that Tom is not as part of that Super Bowl as the other ones he's been in. I think that's nonsense. So I think he's just as much a part of that. People pretend like he didn't have a touchdown pass in that game before to David Patton. So they just conveniently forget about that. But when it came to the Seattle Super Bowl, all anyone talks about when they want to slam Brady, especially Shannon and people who agree with Shannon, about that Malcolm Butler play. All right, let's think about this. And I've never actually talked to you guys about this game in depth or specifically about everything that was going on at the time. But there were some mistakes made by the Patriots that ended up being good mistakes. So you can do the wrong thing sometimes, but it can have the right result. Or you can make the right call and have a bad result. And what that means is that you make the call according to what football history and football, situational football calls for, and you made the right call. It just had the right outcome or the bad outcome. Regarding Pete Carroll's decision at the goal line, I personally would not have risked throwing the ball into the end zone like that. I would have ran Marshawn Lynch over and over until I got in. I think that's probably what I would do. So I was surprised when they hiked it and Russell threw and he went back into his stance, and I was like, wait, what? Is this really happening? Okay. So bad decision, but there is some football sense to what Pete Carroll did if you break it down and see that he was trying to get as many plays as possible. So he was thinking touchdown or incompletion. Incompletion stops the clock and they get a new play. As we're running it and you get stopped and the clock runs. So I can see his point of view on that. I just don't agree with it. I would have done something else. All right. Belichick made the wrong decision. Okay? Belichick should have called a timeout. And people forget about this. I was at a Super Bowl party at my mom's house with all of my family. I mean, everybody, my friends, family. There was a lot of us there. Maybe, how many people? 20, 25 people, Melina? Yeah. And I was yelling at the television for Belichick to call a timeout. I couldn't understand why he wasn't calling a timeout. And this is right the play leading up to the Malcolm Butler interception. Everything in football tells you that he should have called a timeout. But he let the clock run. And he says that he saw that they were out of they were kind of confused or didn't know. I've tried to see what he sees. I've tried to look at it. I've looked at the game film. I've looked at different documentaries about it and the stuff. I don't see what he sees. I'm not saying he didn't see that, but he let the clock run. And honestly, I felt almost like a sense of panic, like almost like he didn't know what to do, or like he couldn't believe it. Like we were all just like, what's happened? What just happened with that stupid, the that catch by Curse. Or maybe he did see something and and that's why he did that. Okay, I know that his defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia, kept asking Bill, "What are we calling a timeout? What's going on? What's going on?" And Bill just ignored him. So that whole sequence is weird. Okay, but again, that's a thing where you don't make the right decision, but it had the right outcome, and that happens. Okay. But talk about defense. So Shannon wants to say that Malcolm Butler saved Tom Brady that Super Bowl. Why is there no mention of letting Russell Wilson get all the way down the field? Okay. So what did it take? It took a lucky catch by Curse that should have been incomplete, right? So people want to play the should have, would have, could have game. They want to play, oh, if Malcolm Butler didn't do that. Well, can't we play that too? So if they can play that, we can play that and say, what if Curse didn't make that catch? Or what if we didn't leave Lynch open and he got down the field so far? How about that? So maybe that it never gets to that point, and maybe they just run out on downs. So who knows? The what if game is so hilarious to people. The point is, we can sit there and go back and say it never should have been that way. That's what Shannon's saying. And so Malcolm Butler saved it. Well, what about the things leading up to that? Then they talk about the Falcons, okay? The Falcons Super Bowl, whatever. The Falcons choked. That's what everyone says. The Falcons choke. All right? No. Do you guys know what choking is in sports? Choking in sports is actually a player or a team creating unforced errors. Now, that's a tennis statistic, but it applies to everything. It's just in tennis, they mark it down. An unforced error is when you do something stupid. I'm speaking in general right now, not just in tennis, but you do something stupid without the opponent being the disruptor or being the reason. In that Super Bowl, the comeback, go and watch the comeback. Matt Ryan didn't fumble the ball at the snap. That wasn't a mishandle of the snap. That was good coverage. And so he had nowhere to go with the ball, and he got strip sacked. That's a forced fumble, okay? That is not an unforced error on the Falcons' part. That is the Patriots making the play to force the issue, okay? Now, the defense holding up, the coverage. I don't see the Falcons doing anything that I would consider choking. I see the Patriots forcing the issue and the Falcons tiring out and the Patriots taking advantage of those situations. There's another team on the field. Now, there are times where teams do choke, okay, doing stupid stuff. The Houston Oilers versus the Buffalo Bills in the divisional back in the early 90s. That was a choke job, okay? They were doing stupid crap the whole game, leaving guys wide open. Another way a quarterback can choke. A quarterback can choke by throwing an interception to nobody, to the defense, but you made the wrong read. You it had nothing to do with the defense. The defense didn't force the issue or read the play. You just threw it in the wrong direction, or you overthrew it and got intercepted or something. That is choking. That is doing something stupid. That is unforced. Okay. Falcons didn't choke. That was a forced situation on the part of the Patriots. I don't like it when people say that the Falcons choked because they don't deserve it. They don't deserve that. They were a great team that year, man. And if they were playing anybody else, they win. You know, and Matt Ryan's got a ring, and the Falcons got a ring, and he's probably still there. So, and their coach is same coach, Dan Quinn's still there. So. Super Bowl 53, the hat I'm wearing right here. What about that one, they say? Okay. Shannon did mention Super Bowl 53, by the way. But what he failed to mention is that the defensive coordinator for the Rams was Wade Phillips. In my opinion, Wade Phillips, if he's not the greatest defensive coordinator of all time, he's top three. Okay? So let's just put it like that. He's always had Brady's number. And when you say Brady's number, it means he has the Patriots' offense's number. That style, knowing where they're going to go with the football. He just does. When he was with Denver, all those Denver games where they just seemed to just Von Miller and DeMarcus wearing them, that was Wade Phillips. And he's always been an annoyance, actually, as coordinator. As a head coach, he was garbage, but as coordinator, you don't want to see him in the playoffs. But Tom still figured it out at the end and got it done. But the Rams, the Rams offense weren't moving the ball much either. It was just a defensive game. It was just one of those weird games. Tom wasn't as explosive in that game as he was in other Super Bowls. Now, the argument that they brought up for Aaron is that the one time you gave him a top defense, he wins the Super Bowl in 2010. Okay. If Tom had only had like 2 or 3 rings over his span, I could, and all let's say the 3 were the defensive ones. Let's say Super Bowl 36, Super Bowl 53, and let's say, well, okay, for lack of a better one, let's say Super Bowl 39, Super Bowl 38. Okay. 39 with the Eagles, the first Eagles Super Bowl. Although, again, that's the closest thing I could think of. But let's say he's got 2 or 3, and it's those. I could see an argument kind of leaning towards like Tom, but the problem with that is that Tom has consistently won so many Super Bowls and gone to so many Super Bowls that you really can't use that argument anymore. It doesn't work. It's gone past that. So now you've got to look at what is the cause? Okay, what is the reason why this keeps happening? He leaves New England, where everyone says that he can't win, or he only wins because of Bill Belichick. He leaves New England, he goes to Tampa Bay with a team that struggled. They were 7-9 the year before. Their defense couldn't get anything done because Jameis Winston kept throwing picks to the, interceptions all game. And when you're constantly being put, and the defense is constantly being put in their own side of the field, constantly defending it, it's hard to be a good defense there, right? What does that mean? That means that the quarterback affected the defense, correct? So people like Shannon have referenced that the only reason the defense wasn't any good in 2019 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is because of Jameis Winston throwing interceptions. So he has admitted that the quarterback affected the defense. But when Tom comes in 2020 and the defense is lights out, it's that he says Tom's got a good defense. So let me figure this out. So when Jameis Winston was throwing interceptions, he affected the defense. He was the bad impact. But when Tom Brady comes and doesn't throw those interceptions and doesn't throw those untimely, stupid throws that Jameis did, he doesn't affect the defense. It's just the defense is just that good, right? People aren't making these arguments against Shannon, and he goes on thinking that he's right, and people think that he's right, right? So that was the difference right there. The Super Bowl against the Chiefs, the Bucs Chiefs Super Bowl. Tom had texted all the players that week. He had helped the defense that week. He worked with the defense as far as giving them things to know what to do regarding the Chiefs, how to work against the Chiefs. He's played against the Andy Reid's Chiefs for a long time and those defenses they had. And he knows that coordinator, Spagnuolo, okay? And he helped them out. He brought that knowledge with him, what to do, what not to do. And you don't have that with another quarterback. So he contributed to that. He was texting all the guys, even the defensive guys, and saying, we know what to do. We just got to do it. That is the difference maker right there. And people are discounting what he does for a team more than just throwing the ball. For Aaron, if we're going to play the shoulda, coulda, woulda game, all right? Every quarterback needs the defense to play well, okay? It's very rare for you to be a juggernaut offense and then go on to win the Super Bowl. You're always going to run into a defense that is going to figure out what a way to stop you, because these playoff teams, they're there because they can usually stop the passing attack on some level, right? All right. What a great quarterback can get you, like Aaron Rodgers, is consistently winning, consistently getting into the playoffs. That's what it gets you. But you need that extra. You need that extra, the defense to know what they're doing. You need the players to know what they're doing, right? Aaron has never been one to motivate his team. He's never been one to do things for them that makes them want to run through a brick wall for him. You saw Mike Evans. You saw Mike Evans last week get in a fight, and then he told the refs, well, that was Tom Brady. What do you expect me to do? I'm defending Brady. Aaron, his teammates don't really feel that way. I've never seen a teammate of Tom Brady after they retire or go on to a podcast and talk bad about him. Aaron Rodgers has that constantly happen. So there's that element missing, right? I looked up Aaron's defenses, and they make it sound like he's had a lot of terrible ones. That's not true, actually. But people don't really look at Aaron and what his job was. We should have had a Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady Super Bowl in 2014, okay? That should have been it. Right? So we all know what happened. Packers versus Seahawks. Packers are up big. They even intercepted Russell Wilson with only like 5 minutes left. They picked him up, I think, 4 times that game. All Aaron had to do was just get some first downs. He didn't have to score. He wasn't being asked to score. Just get first downs. Why can't you do that? Was that the Packers defense? I seem to remember the Packers defense holding the Seahawks to under 10 points, I believe, for almost the entire game. But Aaron couldn't do his job and put the game away. How was that on the defense? Well, that was on Aaron, right? People don't point that out, but we should have got that Super Bowl. And yeah, it could have been Favre versus Brady in Super Bowl 42. Well, yeah, exactly. But Favre threw that idiotic interception. It's infuriating because I wanted to see that Super Bowl. So, do you know that Ramses has completely destroyed my chair? Stop it, kid. So, look at this. So basically what this is a scratching post that is also used as a chair.
Why are you using his scratching post?
Yeah, why am I using his scratching post? If you guys don't have forgotten, Ramses is the cat, the little cat that I had that jumped through the screen, the one I had in Bulgaria. Where is he anyway? Okay. He just ran away. He was down here. Oh, we trim the claws. We trim them constantly. He's got enormous claws. That's crazy. He's like some kind of weird cat. Strange Bulgarian cat. Maybe there's something in the water over there. I don't know. Yeah, we're trying to figure out what he is. But anyway, it's just these arguments about defense is not enough. It just doesn't hold up. There's too much consistency with Tom. There's too many instances of success for it to be like that. Now, I want you to look at all the great quarterbacks' history that's won a lot of Super Bowls and look up their defenses. Also, one thing I want you guys to understand, okay? Defensive rankings are massively overstated and used in arguments. Someone says top 10 defense, top 10 defense. Okay, well, who said 10? The top 10 was the number that you go by, right? Who said that? And the reason I say that is because the difference a lot of times, so go look at points allowed or yards allowed, whatever you prefer. Look at the difference between like number 3 and number 9. The differences are not that big. Or look at the difference, how about this? Look at the difference between number 10 and number 15 or 16. So if you had a defense that was 16th, people would say, oh, he's not a top 10 defense, it's not very good. You'd write it off as not very good. But it's only a few points more average, maybe even a half a point more average than the number 10 defense. But somehow the number 10 defense, because he's number 10, that is a good defense. Although it's almost virtually identical and impossible to distinguish the difference between the two with the 15th or 16th defense. And that is where people are not looking at. So I think it's more important to kind of look at the differences and how far behind it is from the other defenses and especially the opponents. So that would be a better metric for that. Yeah, there we go. Thanks, Daniel. Gorking says 48 out of 55 Super Bowl winners have had top 10 defenses and points allowed. The same number have had top 10 offenses. Acting like this is exclusive to Tom is nonsense. Exactly. It's not. Go look at Joe Montana's 49ers, okay? You never hear that. No one ever mentions Joe Montana's defenses. Milena, have you ever heard anyone say, oh, Joe had a great defense? You don't hear that, right? You only hear Joe, right? You hear Bill Walsh's offense. Go look up those Montana defenses and you tell me if they suck. You'll be like, whoa, what the hell? What you need is balance. When you have a quarterback who is making the right decisions, okay, scoring long drives, okay, offense that can do long drives. That was the problem with the Chiefs. The Chiefs constantly scoring too fast. Their defense doesn't get a break. And that bit them in the butt several times. We saw that. We saw that in the AFC Championship game against the Patriots in 2018. We saw that they scored too fast, and the defense had to get back out there immediately. A quarterback who can do a slow, methodical drive over and over and over and getting first down after first down after first down, that wears out the defense like crazy. Your defense is on the sidelines resting, okay? That is working in conjunction. So when the defense goes back out there, gets an interception for Tom Brady, everyone says, oh, that's Tom Brady's defense helping him out again, getting him a turnover. Okay. Well, what about that long-ass drive that Tom Brady just did, that 80-yard drive that took 7 minutes? Maybe that gave them the rest they needed to be fresh when they got back on the field. It's working together, okay? It's a machine. One part does the other part, and it affects the other. It's It's not that hard to get and understand, but people seem to. If you've got a quarterback that is throwing interceptions at the wrong time or not getting first downs and punting and punting and punting, which Aaron Rodgers has done quite a bit in the playoffs, what's going to happen to your defense? So I just wish people would just stop and look at the reality of the situation and not just react to one little thing. And it seems to be that that's how people think nowadays, and not just with sports, but with everything in general. It's very, very obnoxious. So, okay, I've been ranting for a little bit. Let me put my glasses on so I can see what you are saying. I'm just going to catch up with you guys for a second. I know y'all are probably writing a lot of comments, and then we'll address the game tomorrow. Who's going to win that game? Tyree, a lot of fans of teams know more about the teams in history than the teams themselves, and especially the coaches. I would put up all of you guys. I would put up your knowledge and ability to make decisions and know what comes next over half the head coaches in the NFL right now. Oh, regarding Edelman's catch in Super Bowl 51, well, that one is a different situation, actually, funnily enough. It wasn't a do or die catch. Um, there were still chances after that. Um, but yeah, it was definitely important and definitely cool. So what's interesting about that is you watch the replay, you can watch Julian's eyes following that ball every bit of the way. It's so impressive. I got to tell you guys over and over again, you can't drop the ball if you let your eyes follow it. If you just watch the ball go into your hands, you can't drop it. It's impossible. I'm telling you. Every time they show a replay, you see one of those great catches. Watch the receiver's eyes. He followed it all the way to his hand and made sure it was there. And a lot of times, the reason why wide receivers drop passes is because they're looking to where they're going to go with the ball and assume that they made the catch, and then they go like that. It's the same thing similar with running backs. Okay, so with running backs, once they get the ball, what running backs have a tendency to do is look at the guy in front of them and around them. Okay, right near them. They look at the guy near them to try to beat him. Strangely enough, you're not supposed to do that. What you need to do is you need to look downfield. You need to look at the second and third levels ahead. And why would I say that? Well, because the guys that are initially around you, you let your instincts avoid them. So instinctually, anybody who's getting near you, you're just going to do it. You're just going to be like on autopilot. This is, of course, if you're a good running back, but your instincts are going to get around, move around, and get around these guys. It's downfield that you need to know where they're going to be. So as you're juking these guys naturally, you could see that safety coming up from the right, and then you know to go this way. So you know that after you get around the first level, then you go the other way. A lot of running backs don't see that. A guy who was great at doing this the right way was LaDainian Tomlinson. He would, instinctually just let it happen, and then he would go downfield. Barry Sanders was the master at this, not looking at the immediate around him. So you let your instincts take over, and then you use your sight and your brain to figure out where the next levels are going. So with running backs, if you just do that, you'll be a good running back. Follow your blockers, follow them, and know where they're going to go. And really, that's what you do. And if you want to be a great receiver, watch the ball. These are fundamentals of football that I see get ignored constantly by NFL players. It's crazy. So. Nefertiti sends a $5 super chat. She says, "Are you new here? Subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified." Thanks, guys. Marcus 415, thank you for being a member, Marcus. By the way, if you're a member, you're allowed one super chat, one free super chat every show because you're a paying recurring member. So make sure to use that. Don't let that go by because it doesn't carry over, unfortunately. So Marcus, you're a member, so use that. I'm actually not sure how it works on the because I'm using a software here, but a lot of people do it. If you have trouble, just ask one of the Elf of Courage. We know you've been subbed. You've been subbed since before I was born. You've been subbed since 1979. Who wants to get Elf of Courage a new iPad? Every week, my iPad. Elf of Courage needs a new iPad. We actually have a squirrel who visits here. We have several, but one of them we call Julian, of course, because Julian's called the squirrel. And I think we turned out she was a girl, so we named her Julianne instead. Close enough. We have another squirrel, boy squirrel named Bobo. And apparently they had children, so now we got little baby squirrels showing up at the balcony wanting food. So it's really funny. Super chat. Dave Wilhauer. What's up, Dave? Awesome. He says, "Love me some Von Allen sports talk." Dave with the $10 super chat. 10. TEN. Because apparently last week I didn't know how to read. So that's what I get for Melina not being around, right? Dave Wilhauer has torque right now. Subbed means subscribed. Okay, so let's talk about the game tomorrow. We'll start with this one. I am going to have to be a bit realistic here. There's just too much missing. I rarely pick against Tom, but I think tomorrow they lose.
No.
Well, that's what my brain's telling me. Everything I've looked at, the situation. uh, Let's see here. I actually think it'll be a good game. I think I don't think it's going to be like a blowout or anything like that. I think it'd be pretty interesting. The Green Bay Packers will get up early. They'll by halftime they'll probably be up by a touchdown, maybe 10 points, but it'll still be exciting. But I just don't think there's enough. I think there's too many things missing for Tom this week, and it's just so. I tell you this much: if if Brady wins tomorrow, and with this situation, well, first of all, I would never be more happy to be wrong. Okay, um, but if I just pick Tom every week, guys, then my pick means nothing. I've got to, if Tom had Mike Evans, um, and maybe one of the other guys back, and it wasn't so bare bones, then I would probably pick Tampa. But I think that will be the difference maker. I think offense is going to struggle. They're going to run the ball a lot, and Green Bay is going to know that, and they're going to be ready for it. I've seen a lot of these backup players on Tampa Bay that just don't seem to be able to catch very well or run the routes very well. They seem to be kind of lost. I thought a lot of these guys was probably going to break out and do really well, but I don't see it. I know they signed Cole Beasley. I remember him being kind of good a while back, a long time ago for the Cowboys, but um, I just don't think it's going to be enough. And I think the Packers are really starting to feel like the Packers again. Of course, they always lose week one for some reason, but I just think the Packers will edge out the Bucs, um, and they'll win by. I'm going to say they'll win by 4. Okay. So what do you guys think? Well, see, that's the thing about Marcus, about Green Bay can't stop the run. Well, this has only been 2 games, and the first game they just entire team just played like garbage, and we don't know how much that is relevant to. And then I look at the matchups as far as the stats. Saying things like, "Oh, they can't stop the run" or whatever, by looking at the league average, the what they how many yards they average per carry and all that. That really, to me, doesn't really start to tell a story until after 4 games. That's why in the formulas we do, we just take an average of the first 4 weeks instead of game by game. And I'm just not sure. I just don't put too much stock into a statistic like that after only 2 games. It's just not enough. It's not enough for me to make a decision based off that. So I hope, oh my God, I hope that Tom can win this, because he beat the Saints last week. They beat the Saints last week. if he can beat the Packers this week and then beat Mahomes next week, that's the same sequence of events in his Super Bowl playoff run. So I think that would be freaking awesome. So it looks like everybody else has got Tampa. Oh no, Ray Davis, he's got Green Bay over the Bucs. Wow, 21-9. You think it's going to be? My brain says Green Bay, my heart says Tampa. I'll tell you what, if they win this game, I will not pick against Tom the rest of the year. No matter what the situation. I don't care what it is. I mean, this is not a weak Packers team. They have been they've had deep runs in the playoffs for the last 3 years in a row. So there's no reason to think that they all of a sudden just suck, you know. So a lot of teams take a few weeks to kind of hit their stride. We know that Patriots are like that. So I hope I'm wrong. We just don't know, guys. We just don't know. We don't know enough about Green Bay. We don't know what they're going to become. Let's say that 10 weeks from now they haven't lost a game. Then all of a sudden my pick makes sense, you know, because that was the game that was the team that we were working with there. Or they could suck, and then my pick wouldn't make any sense. It's just not enough games. When we get after week 4, so starting in week 5, that's when we can really look at, in my opinion, really look at the stats and really see what they mean and what they are about. So um, you also have to beware of judging any game that's a divisional game. Divisional games tend to have some kind of weird, like losing against Minnesota in week 1. Well, they lost badly in week 1 last year too. Same thing happened. Week 2, this year they played Chicago. Chicago somehow got a win against the 49ers in week 1 and through that mud and storm crap at Soldier Field. I don't think Chicago's all that good of a football team, but um, still, we just don't know. We just don't know how good they are. All right. I would never put money on this game, by the way. Never. I don't advise anybody to put money on this game. It's too close. Nefertiti sends a $5 super chat and says, TB12 victory, please. Let's effing go. All right. So Milena does not agree with my pick. She doesn't like my pick. Fair enough.
You don't like your own pick either.
No, I don't like my own pick. I don't like picking the Packers.
Right.
I hope I'm wrong tomorrow. I hope I'm very wrong. Yeah, Thomas Allen, Josh Allen looks top notch. And now, Dad, you're not just saying that because his name is Allen, right? Okay, okay, because yeah, I think the same thing. No, Josh Allen is really come into his own. I mean, he's just a different player. You remember how sloppy it was when he first got in the league? It was rough, but now he's definitely awesome. Well, I have a soft spot in my heart for Josh Allen because his last name's Allen. So that I'll admit it. I'll admit it. Although you'd think I would have the same uh, feelings for Aaron Rodgers because his name's Aaron. It just doesn't work like that, I guess. All right. By the way, Tampa Bay is a uh, the favorite by not much, 1 point. So okay, now for the game I've been dreading. Yeah, I realized that this game was coming soon in week 3. I don't like this game being scheduled in week 3. The Patriots with the Ravens coming into Foxborough. Again, I'm looking at the stats here, but they don't really tell me much. I dismiss most of this. I don't know what happened with the Ravens last week. I think it's one of those freak occurrences or something. I should have rewatched that game because I wanted to know what happened there. Huh? What? This is a tough game for the Patriots. But I am going with the Ravens. Man, if Tom Brady was on the team, it'd be different. It'd just be a different thing. That's the difference maker right there. I don't like Patriots early in the season. I just the Ravens organization, the Harbaugh and them, they just have no fear of us. They have no fear of going into Foxborough. They just never have, and it doesn't seem to change. The players change, but that attitude and that way of doing things doesn't seem to change. And Harbaugh is going to prepare for this game. He takes it personally to play against Belichick. It's serious to him, and I just don't see them losing this. I don't think we're ready yet. I think we're a few weeks away from being ready for a game like this. This is an important. It's a big game. The schedule makers kind of screwed us on this one. But I'm telling you, if the Patriots can win this game, in my opinion, it's an upset and a great victory. If the Patriots can win this, so they took out Pittsburgh, and I know Pittsburgh, Mitch Trubisky, and they were missing TJ Watt, whatever. It's still a Mike Tomlin coach team. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. So that's still a solid win early in the year. Again, early in the year, anybody is anybody. Anybody can win at any time. We saw that with the Jets making their big comeback. So I just don't like where in the schedule this is. So again, brain says Ravens, heart wants New England. But yeah, the schedule has sucked so far for New England. Sending us to Miami. They should have sent Miami to New England while it's warm and then sent the Patriots to Miami at the end of the year where it's not so bad. But they did the freaking exact opposite. So sent them to Miami, then Pittsburgh, then to play Pittsburgh, and now to play Baltimore. I don't like the sequence. And they did this with Tampa Bay too. They did it with Tom. So they threw at them the Saints almost immediately. The Cowboys week 1, which Cowboys is kind of a weird team, but they can be good, they can be bad depending on the situation. So you got Dallas, and then they put them against the Saints, which has always been a problem. Now Green Bay. Next week is Kansas City. There was something to this, clearly. So the opponents go by a system. So that's predetermined based off of standings and a rolling system that they have. But the matchups when they are, and in the sequence of when they are in the schedule, that is determined by the schedule makers and by the NFL. So they can decide when this is going to happen. And I think there's something there. And don't think that this is me being down on New England or Tampa Bay. That's not what this is. This is just a particular situation. If this was week 7 or week 8, something like that, I would have a completely different view on this and a different view on the matchups and defense versus offense and things like that. The quarterbacks and how they're looking. I just don't have enough information on this right now, and I just don't think the Patriots are ready. They're not ready. They're not ready for something like this. But so it has nothing to do with my overall attitude regarding them. Oh, by the way, Cleveland defeated Pittsburgh. Addie, we're very happy for you. Is Addie here tonight? Don't forget, guys, follow me on Truth Social, Von Allen Sports on Truth Social. When we get to 50 followers, I'm going to start consistently posting there all the time, and I can say what I want without worrying about getting banned. But congrats to Addy. I don't think he's here tonight, but maybe he'll see the game later. Or the broadcast later. But we're all happy for you, Addy. So we've got Chicago versus Tennessee. No versus Houston. Okay, seriously, is this the who gives a flying crap game of the week? So I don't care. I just don't care. But the Bears are going to win. Whatever. Raiders. Raiders at Titans. What has happened to the Titans? What is their deal? Like, they used to be good. I mean, they were a team that was like right on the cusp of getting to a Super Bowl. And now they're just I'm going with the Raiders. I don't trust. I know they're both 0-2, but the Raiders have got to get a win, right? Um, yeah, I'm going with Vegas. Kansas City at Indianapolis. Okay, I know that the Colts have been playing bad football, but I think that this game could be fun. This could be a fun game. Could be interesting. The Chiefs are going to win. It's fine there. So if you're comfortable in picking the Chiefs, go ahead. Uh, I'd say, but it still will be a fun game. I think it'll be an interesting game despite the Colts having some problems. Now, if Matt Ryan's wide receivers can actually catch a football, um, they might have a shot. But still, I'm looking forward to this game. I want to watch this game. Okay, Buffalo at the Dolphins. Being in Miami doesn't seem to have the same effect on the Buffalo Bills as it does the Patriots for some reason. Buffalo is a 4.5 point favorite. Now, this is something that is important to me. This is the game I'm considering for my survivor pool. I want to win this survivor pool. This survivor pool is very important to me. There is not an obvious game this week. There is not a game that you can point to and say it's a lock. The first 2 weeks had that. The first 2 weeks had the Chiefs and then the Packers last week. But there is no lock this week. And I'm not allowed to pick the Chiefs or Packers anymore, so they're out. So I'm looking at this Bills-Dolphins game as the game I want to go with. I think it's the best one. Originally, I was looking at the Chargers. Let me see here. He's still questionable. Justin Herbert. I'm probably going to have to watch this down to the wire and see what happens. But I just don't know. It depends. I mean, even if Justin Herbert uh, can play, is he going to play well? I mean, because when you're injured like that, a bruised rib, I mean, the pain you would feel uh, throwing the ball, that's, I mean, I just don't know. I don't know if that's going to mess up his throwing. If he was okay and we just knew that he was practicing all week and everything, I would pick this is the game. This would be the lock game I would go with. I just don't know. So far, Buffalo, I know they're missing some key guys on defense, but still, I think that Dolphins are pretenders. Everyone is on the Dolphins bandwagon right now. They're the cool new thing to talk about every year. We've always got a team that's a cool new thing to talk about. I think the Dolphins are not as good as people. I just don't. I don't see them becoming anything. They're going to be like an 8-9 season, you know, 7-10 type team by the time it's over. So not terrible, but not exceptional either. Minnesota versus Detroit. I'm actually, strangely enough, this one interests me. It's although it's at the Vikings, I like Detroit for this. So I did not like what I saw by the Vikings. So we're going to go with Detroit again here, even though Minnesota is 6-point favorites, which I think is a mistake as far as the odds makers go. Bengals at Jets. Normally, you could say that the Bengals could be a lock here, but can they? Are they? I don't trust them right now. You can't protect Joe Burrow. They're just not playing good football. I think this one's too risky. I mean, I'm gonna pick the Bengals here, but still, I don't like the matchup. It'd be an interesting game, I think. Okay, Eagles at DC Lizard People. So I'm surprised that this matchup actually has some interest in it. Like there's this one could actually be kind of cool. I'm surprised by the Eagles. I'm surprised that they're 2-0 right now. I'm going to go Philly on that one. Saints at Carolina Panthers. I'm tired of picking the Panthers. I'm done with that. So I don't care if Winston and Kamara are injured, whatever, have some injuries there. I don't care. New Orleans gets the win on that one. Chargers and Jacksonville. It all depends on the quarterback there. That's it. Justin Herbert plays, they win. If he can play well, or at least up to his standards. Rams at Cardinals. I'm gonna go with the football baby. Football baby. Falcons at Seahawks. Oh, the two teams that are tanking, who are trying to, yeah. So someone's got to win, right? Or they can tie. Falcons win this one on the road in Seattle.
You get the super chat?
No, from Gord King.
Yeah.
Gord King says a $5 super chat. He says Miami became the shiny new thing after last week. I'm not sure they'd be very different if Bridgewater came off the bench for Tua. That's an interesting, huh? You're right. I don't think they would. I like that. I agree with you on that. So I agree on that. Rams at now. I love this game. So Sunday night NBC, 49ers at Broncos. So this is Jimmy Garoppolo versus Russell Wilson. I like this game. Denver has no idea what the hell they're doing on offense. They are completely, I mean, their coach sucks. Okay. Their coaching staff sucks. And until you trust Russell Wilson to do what he thinks is best or what he wants to do on the field, you're going to keep losing. And you're going to lose to good teams like the 49ers. Now that the 49ers have Jimmy back, Jimmy's a new guy now. Okay, he has nothing to lose. He's going to go out there and he's not going to be so afraid to throw the ball. He's not going to be afraid to push the envelope because he knows it's just, if this doesn't work, it don't make no difference anyway. So just get it done. And I think Jimmy's just going to be a different quarterback now for the rest of the season. And the 49ers get the win here. I think the best thing that happened to the 49ers was Trey Lance getting injured. Monday Night Football, Cowboys and Giants. Why do they always make us watch this? Why do they always make us watch Cowboys Giants in prime time? I get it. I know that the Cowboys have a big fan base and the Giants are New York market. Blah 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 blah. No one cares. No one is impressed. The Giants are 2-0. Yay, the Giants are 2-0. They're kind of not so bad. All right. Whoop-de-doo. Until Saquon Barkley makes eye contact with a pylon and then breaks his ankle or something. Until that happens. Or Daniel Jones breaks off another run and then just falls for no reason. Maybe he's got my problem. Maybe he's got a fractured hip. This Cooper Rush kid, let's talk about him for a second. The backup quarterback that's taken over for Dak Prescott. Could he have something? Have you guys seen something in him that may be pretty good? He may be the guy. There's always got to be somebody that guy who takes over and makes a name for himself and makes his that Dak got the job that way by taking over for Tony Romo. Could this Cooper Rush kid be that? I like what I saw. I only saw just that one game last week, but I did think that he was okay. So can he follow that up with another? If he could just make the right plays at the right time. I'm not that impressed by the Giants actually. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Cooper Rush plays well. The Cowboys defeat the Giants. And then Cooper Rush will become top of the conversation. Everyone will be like, "Oh, Cooper Rush is the new quarterback," and we get to hear them overrate him and all that other good stuff. Yeah, so that's what's going to happen. There you go, done and done. We just never know. Just never, ever know. But a lot of these games, although it sounds like the picks, don't mistake me picking the Patriots or Bucs, meaning that these games aren't going to be fun. There's a lot of good games tomorrow. These matchups are good. These are solid matchups. They're not a bunch of blowouts, like one team is just going to be obvious, it's going to be over. I'm not saying a blowout won't happen, but it just looks like it's a good slate of games. I like it. So is Rafael Hagoy, have you guys seen Rafael? Yeah, Minute Man. I agree. Okay. Someone posted this video of Kyler Murray running around. It said, Kyler Murray runs like a toddler who just stole his parents' phone. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's like it's there. It's true, actually. It's football baby, like Milena says. Football baby. I'm a little football baby. And it looks like Bruce Arians got a reprimand by the NFL for being on the sidelines and what looked like instigating the fight, or at least cheering it on. So there you go. Now, I just want to tell you guys, when the Patriots or the Bucs have a primetime game, so a Thursday night game, a Sunday night game, or a Monday night game, there will always be a post game show for that, an immediate post game show. It'll go late, of course, for people on the East Coast, but I will do the post game reaction shows just for those games if they're ever in prime time. So just keep that in mind. Of course, Roger Federer, the great tennis player, retired. That's in the news. Did we cover everything? Was there anything else I was wanting to cover? Yeah, I think that's about it. See, Albert Pujols hit his 700th home run last night. Wow, impressive. Just to show you how little I know about baseball, does he still play for the Cardinals? Up of Courage, $5 super chat. He says, what nicknames old you give some of the young players today? Oh, what nickname, old nicknames of players would I give to young players today? Is that what you mean? Just clarify for me what you mean. Ah, what nicknames would you give some of the young players today? Well, like yeah, like with Kyler Murray, I'd say football baby, like Milena. But that wasn't an insult. That Milena calls him that for um, as an endearing comment. I'm sure he wouldn't find it that way. Uh, my friend Zishan, who was over last week, and actually he's going to be coming over watch the Bucs game with me tomorrow. He called Sher. What do you call Herbert? Sherbert Herbert?
Someone did. No, it wasn't him.
It wasn't Z. I thought it was Z. Well, someone called Justin Herbert Sherbert Herbert. Okay. We call Aaron Donald Dickhead Donald. I think that'd work. Yeah, I don't know. I need to think about that. Needs to come up with some. We got Mahomes, which we call him Torque uh, here, and John Thomas Chavez. He had a great nickname for Brian Hoyer. He's called Clipboard Torque because nobody holds a clipboard like Brian Hoyer. So
We have KFC.
KFC,
No, it's not a player now,
is that for Bruce Arians
but yeah, also.
or Andy Reid?
Um, they look like brothers.
They look like brothers. Yeah,
The KFC bros.
that's true. Gord King. Brady did have became tablet Torque versus the Saints. Okay, Bruce Arians is Colonel Sanders. Got it. James Johnson, what's up, man? I didn't see you here earlier. Aaron Rodgers plus Josh Allen equals Aaron Allen. Interesting. I like that.
Yeah, see? James said it.
$5 super chat from James Johnson. Oh, it was James. Okay. He said, I called him Sherbert Herbert. Do you think Sunday will... That's right. It was in our personal chat, the Legion chat,
Yeah.
the Evocati. Okay. Apologies, James. But he said, I called him Sherbert Herbert. Do you think Sunday will be Jimmy's big debut for either free agency or maybe to convince Kyle to keep him on the Niners? I think it's his debut for free agency. So
Superman.
I think Jimmy should go out there. If Jimmy plays it safe and they win some games, everyone in the league is just going to say, okay, it's the same old Jimmy as before. They win some games, but he's not really that important to the situation. So no matter what, that's not going to help him anyway. He's going to be in the same position he was before. What he needs to do is go out there and just throw the ball around. Have no fear. Okay, don't be afraid to make a mistake. Just do it. Just go out there and do it. I know that Tom talked to him recently. I heard that Tom talked to him recently. I think that Jimmy is going to play with a different purpose now. I think his attitude, everything is going to be different. So he's maybe this benching, this could have been the best thing for him. I think there's a part of Jimmy that before they gave him all this money, he's supposed to be the savior and he was supposed to come there and win them Super Bowls and stuff. And I think he just didn't want to make mistakes. So he played very reserved and calm. And then you end up making mistakes because you're too careful instead of just doing your job and just going out there. And if you do something wrong, you're just supposed to forget about it and move on. He needs to play with that fearlessness. And I think that's what's going to happen now. Yeah, exactly, Milena. Jimmy is Superman, right? We just call him that. So he looks like Superman. He also looks like the red coat. All right, guys, great show. Um, we have a great slate of football tomorrow. And don't forget, um, Tuesday night, we have our week 3 reaction show. So don't forget about that. And I appreciate all of y'all being here. and all your super chats. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And tomorrow's going to be awesome, guys. I'm telling you, a lot of exciting games. So I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, you guys. See you later.